Hello and welcome to Connect Church. We're so glad to have you with us. My name's Dwayne Hawksworth and I'm the lead pastor here at Connect in Waco. This week we're in the fourth and final week of a series called Who Do You Think You Are? We live in a culture that constantly tells us how to live, and this way of living is often at odds with the way Jesus shows us how to live. What the world considers normal usually doesn't work. As followers of Jesus, we're called to think and live differently from this world. Today, we're discussing normal isn't working. Before we begin, let me invite you to get connected with us here at Connect Church and perhaps even prayerfully and financially support what we're doing. To connect with us, all you need to do is take your cell phone and text the words Connect Church to 94,000. That's the words Connect Church to 94,000. When you do, you'll receive a link to both connect with us and to give if you'd like. You can also go to our website at connectwaco.com. To connect with us by mail, our mailing address is Connect Church, P.O. Box 4317, Waco, Texas 76715. There'll be a screen at the end of our time together with this information too. Thank you for joining us, for connecting with us, and for supporting what we're doing here at Connect Church in Waco. Before I bring today's message, our band has a song for you, and I hope you enjoy this week's online celebration. One of the questions we often ask someone, or they ask us when we meet someone for the first time, is, "Where are you from?" We quickly identify with where we or someone else is from. When we're from somewhere, the ways of where we're from become part of who we are and what we do. I'm a Texan, born and raised in Texas. Sometimes Texans can be accused of being a bit too proud of being from Texas, perhaps even a bit arrogant about our home state. We even joke a bit about our arrogant love of our state. I read someone's t-shirt that read, "Never ask someone where they're from. If they're from Texas, they'll tell you. If they're not, don't embarrass them." Yes, a bit proud and even a bit arrogant for sure. Sometimes it takes someone else to point out the uniqueness of where we're from. I've been privileged to travel some, and in doing so, learned a lesson about being a Texan. Years ago, my friend Tommy and I were visiting the Holy Land, and one evening, as we were walking down a busy street in Jerusalem, a merchant overheard our conversation and asked where we were from. In unison, we both replied, "From Texas." Instantly, he said, "You Texans, you're never from the United States. You're always from Texas." I've had the same thing happen in other countries since then, too. Once, in Cambodia, I encountered the same emotion, but in reverse. Some teenagers asked me where I was from, and I quickly told them, "Texas." They asked, "Where's Texas?" I was astounded and shocked. I didn't say it, but I thought, what do you mean? Where's Texas? How could they not know about Texas? Where we're from influences the way we think, the way we talk, our attitudes and actions toward others, and how we do things. These ways become so ingrained in who we are and what we do. Whenever we encounter people from other places with different ways, we often find them to be strange and unusual. We can often tell where someone is from by the way they talk. Here in Texas, we say y'all. In Philadelphia, they say yous guys. In Missouri, you just might hear someone say youans. Of course, then there are accents that show where we're from, like the southern drawl or the distinct accent of Great Britain or Australia. When I ministered in Vietnam, I discovered a custom that's very different from churches in America. When people enter the church in Vietnam, they remove their shoes and leave them outside the door. This was the first time I ever spoke in church in my socks. That wasn't too unusual for me, though, because like in Hawaii, we take our shoes off when we enter our home, too. I just never had done this in church. When we travel, another thing that's true about where we're from is also we need to be aware of actions, attitudes, and gestures that are considered very offensive to the people of that nation or culture. Gestures that are considered acceptable in the United States, such as thumbs up or okay, are very offensive in other cultures. So you see, where we're from influences the way we think, the way we talk, our attitudes, and actions toward others, and how we do things. One of Jesus' closest followers, named Peter, said something very interesting for our discussion today. It's found in the New Testament letter of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11. The Apostle Peter said, "Dear friends, I warn you as temporary residents and foreigners to keep away from worldly desires that wage war against your very souls." As followers of Jesus, if we are temporary residents and foreigners, then where are we the citizens of? Where are we from? Considering that Peter said that we are temporary residents and foreigners, what Paul says shows us where the early followers of Jesus, the first century Christians, saw their citizenship to be. The answer is found in the New Testament letter the Apostle Paul wrote to the followers of Jesus in the city of Philippi. Look at what Philippians chapter 3 and verse 20 has to say. "But we are citizens of heaven, where the Lord Jesus Christ lives, and we are eagerly waiting for him to return as our Savior." The Apostle Paul plainly states that when we put our faith in Jesus and begin to follow him, our citizenship changes. We become citizens of heaven while we're still here on this earth. Being a citizen of a place grants us the rights and privileges of being a citizen of that place. We may be here, but our citizenship is there. That's why Peter said we are temporary residents and foreigners here on this earth. Who are you? You are a citizen of heaven. The word "but" in verse 20 is a conjunction. It connects it with the verses just before it. So let's see what Paul said in verses 18 and 19. "For I have told you often before, and I say it again with tears in my eyes, that there are many whose conduct shows that they are really enemies of the cross of Christ. They are headed for destruction. Their God is their appetite. They brag about shameful things, and they think only about this life here on earth." As a citizen of heaven, our conduct matters. How we talk matters. How we act matters. How we live matters. As a citizen of heaven, what you find important and what matters to you changes and is different than those who are citizens of this world. I used to hear people say of some Christians that they were so heavenly minded they were of no earthly good. To be honest, I never found any of those. I've encountered many professing Christians who were so earthly minded they were of little heavenly good. In the New Testament letter of Colossians chapter 3 verses 1 and 2, the Apostle Paul explains where our thoughts and affections should be. Since you've been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. As citizens of heaven, we are Jesus' ambassadors here on this earth. We are representatives of Jesus here on this earth. Our love for Jesus should be reflected in who we are and how we live. This means the way we act, our attitudes, the way we speak, the way we live, is a reflection on where we're from and on Jesus. This even means what we think about matters. Paul said of those whose conduct is contrary to citizens of heaven, they think only about life here on earth. This means the way we treat others matters. Jesus commands us to love one another. In the New Testament letter written by Jesus' close follower named John, we read in John chapter 13, verse 35, something very important that Jesus said. He said, "Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." The love we show for others shows everyone around us where we're from, that we belong to Jesus, that we are citizens of heaven. Our life on earth is temporary and eternity is long. Eternity is forever. Our life on earth should be a preparation for eternity, for heaven. It's easy to focus on the things of earth. I'm a citizen of heaven. But of course, we all want to be comfortable, have a good income, a nice home. Maybe even one day get the house cleaner so I can have more me time for whatever me time is. We want more me time and a little extra cash for the things we'd like to have. We want to travel and go nice places. We know we're citizens of heaven, but we want to provide the best we can for our families. Then we want to show it all on social media so we can tell everybody, my life is amazing, hashtag I'm blessed. We get drawn into what we have and what we do and what we show and what people think about us. We know deep down as followers of Jesus that this isn't all there is. When people look at you, at your life, the way you act, think, speak, where do they think you're from? Where do they think you're a citizen of? If you're a follower of Jesus, you are a citizen of heaven. What it comes down to is this. If you're a citizen of heaven, you should act like it. If I'm a follower of Jesus, I'm a citizen of heaven. As a citizen of heaven, I should act like it. This means the way we act, think, our attitudes, the way we speak, the way we live should reflect where we're from. These aspects of our lives should be reflections of where we are citizens of. A few years ago, we were visiting New York City, and we went into a busy diner to get something for lunch one day. And in the busy order line, I said, "Excuse me," to another man in line. And he looked at me with a funny look and said in his heavy New York accent, "You're not from New York, are you?" Sadly, he was apparently not used to someone being polite and kind. We have the privilege, the honor, and the responsibility to live as citizens of heaven and representatives of heaven here on earth. This is a tremendous privilege. This is also a tremendous responsibility. People should be able to observe us and know where we're from. They should look at us and see the life, the love, and the character of Jesus in us. The question is, do they? We live in a culture that constantly tells us how to live, and this way of living is often at odds with how Jesus calls us to live. As citizens of heaven, we're called to think and live differently from this world. For many of us, we saw that the ways of the world around us just don't work. We longed for something different and discovered the ways of Jesus, choosing to follow him. His ways are different, and the results of living his ways are different. The fullness and richness of living life with Jesus is wonderfully different. Ask the Lord to live His life in you and through you so that when others look at you, they know where you're from, that you are a citizen of heaven. And when they do, that they would desire to change their citizenship to heaven too.